What's good with you?
I'm doing good. How you
Yeah,
doing
man.
today?
Hey, I can't complain, bro. It's another day in Atlanta.
All right. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. It was chill. Just spend time with the family, man. Just, when you get time off, you just gotta relax.
You living a different life right now than me. You living that grown man life.
Man, I honestly I wouldn't even call it a grown man life. Yeah, maybe in terms of responsibilities. Yeah.
Okay. For those of y'all who don't know, Ben is actually the first person that I met in Atlanta. And it's actually kind of weird how we met because we're connected to some people back home in Philly. I know some of Ben's friends and family who I actually went to school with. And he reached out to me way before I got here. And he was like, yo, like, when you come out here, I got you. Like, I'm going to show you where everything is. I'm going to get you right. And since I've been here, he's held true to that. So, if you can, bro, tell the people what it is that you do, who you are, and what they should know about you.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, man. So Ben Coulibaly. I'm from Philadelphia. Was born and raised there. Both of my parents immigrated from Mali, West Africa. Definitely coming from parents that immigrated over to the United States, barely speaking any English. Failure just was not an option. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being first generation American. So, growing up in West Philly, I had a father that was, very strict, had very high expectations. So did my mother. Mother was very hardworking, very nurturing mother. Both of them, structured household. Went to high school at Boys Latin. Shout out to Boys Latin, class of 2013. And then went out to play football in Maine. For those of you who don't know, Maine is a state in the United States. But like Maine, where's Maine at? Close to Canada. But went to Maine, played football out there for 4 years for Bates College, class of 2017. Then moved back out to Philadelphia, where I started my career at being a mortgage banker.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know what a mortgage banker is someone who finances residential properties. I got started in that industry straight out of college and been doing it for 4 years. And to really say the least, man, I've been really able to make a career and make a living by helping other people create generational wealth through real estate. So that's my passion, and that's what I do.
That was an amazing intro, bro. And
Yeah.
we're going to get into more of Ben's career. But first and foremost, I just wanted y'all to know who he is and where he comes from. We actually have that commonality that we're both African. And, if you know anything about Philly, Philly is like a melting pot of cultural groups of people. So you got your Africans, you got your Asians, you got everything you want down there. But where I'm from, specifically in Southwest, you're going to find every group of Africans, from Liberians to Ghanaians, Nigerians, Senegalese people, everything, so that's how me and Ben came together. But you kind of touched on it a little bit before, bro, but what is it that brought you to Atlanta specifically? You could have went anywhere in the world.
Yo, which is funny, my wife and I were just talking about this yesterday. So pretty much, man, what brought me to Atlanta was, honestly, I really needed to leave the nest. You know what I'm saying? Coming back from college and going back to, back home. I had my independence in college, right, and then going back home, it was kind of difficult, getting used to that.
You try to bring a girl to the crib. You try to play your music in your room.
You just so used to your independence in college and doing everything you want to do, and then you go back home and then you got your parents, and your parents still kind of see you as that kid, that child. So it's just, and me being the oldest, I just really felt compelled to, just like, just jump the nuts and do something for myself. I thought actually I was going to move out and like live in Jersey.
Okay.
Like somewhere like literally right over the bridge from Philadelphia. And then I thought, okay, maybe Delaware. And I was like, ain't nothing happening in Delaware. I don't want to move there. And for some reason, while I'm scrolling through social media, I just kept coming across Atlanta real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I love these homes, and not only the homes, but they so affordable. We talking that's when, before pandemic, Atlanta homes, you could get a 4 or 5 bedroom with a pool in the back for like $250.
That's unheard of in Philly.
That's unheard of in Philly. So I'm like, yo, man, Atlanta like really looks dope. And mind you, I never been to the South, never been to Atlanta, never even visited. This is just based off of speculation, what I'm seeing. So I started doing research about, Atlanta, and what really gravitated me towards Atlanta was just seeing a bunch of black entrepreneur and professionals. Yeah. I'm not going to say unheard of in Philly, but it's just not prominent in Philly as it is here in Atlanta. Atlanta really is, I like to call it Wakanda. It doesn't look like everywhere else.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so that's what kind of brought me to Atlanta. I was like, man, like I want to be in an environment where people who look like me and are just like me who are thriving. And Atlanta was that. And Atlanta was that spot.
And honestly, bro, for me, it was much of the same. You know, something that you didn't touch on much in your answer was, you know, our cultural heritage.
Facts.
And I want you to speak to a little for the people that don't know, you know, the expectations and the demands and the pressure that we get from our families to be successful. Was that any part of why you chose to come to a new city as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Having that fresh start and having to depend on just myself to be able to succeed. Because when you realize, when you look to your left, you look to your right, there's no one around you to help you but yourself.
Yeah.
It motivates you to push forward and get through whatever you got going through to make it happen. And honestly, I think my hustler spirit comes from my father. My father's the kind of person, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. You make it happen. There is no excuse. He's a very straightforward man. And I slowly but surely became that man. You know what I mean? And I truly understand why he is the way that he is and why he pushed me the way that he always did, even since I was a kid. It was because he was preparing me for the challenges life had to offer. So, I mean, growing up in a Malian household, an African household in general, it's different. It's different. Their failure is just not an option. Failure, disappointment, none of that is an option. They really hold you accountable to be the best that you can be, and that's what I love about it, honestly.
And honestly, bro, I agree with that 100%. I just was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was telling them that, you know, my upbringing was really hard because of that pressure, because of those demands, because of those expectations. But I don't think that I would be anywhere near half the man that I am today if I didn't grow up without that structure, if I wasn't expected to go to church on Sundays and
100%.
participate in my church, if I wasn't expected to get good grades and stay out of trouble. You know, I feel like my grandmother and my family members, they built the whole ecosystem around me, and it came with a lot of demands. It came with a lot of pressure. I couldn't always do the things that my friends were doing, but I look at myself when I was able to go away from home for college. I'm like, man, like these people don't have half of the structure that I do. Like, I'm very cleanly, I'm very responsible. I manage my time, I make good decisions. I'm self-aware, and I think that's the most important thing, bro, is like, whenever I would be faced with a decision, my grandmother's voice played in my head, and I would be like, oh, man, I can't do that, man. I done got, you know, hit with the foo-foo stick on my knuckles. You know, I had that PTSD up there, man, but it kept me on a good track. But, you know, I want to ask you, like, what's your favorite thing to do out here? Like, what you like most about living in Atlanta? I know you're a regular at our spot. You know, you want to tell the people our spot?
Oh, yeah, Twin Peaks and Buckhead.
For sure.
All day, yes, sir, Twin Peaks and Buckhead. If I'm not home, I'm probably there. You know what I'm saying?
If you want to know where me and Ben at in Atlanta, if said slide to Twin Peaks, you might catch us there on a Tuesday or Thursday. You never know, man.
Yeah, but other than that, man, I definitely love the park. Me and my lady love going to the park. And honestly, I'm still kind of fresh to Atlanta, so I try to go everywhere that I can because I feel like I haven't experienced all of Atlanta yet. Right. Atlanta is small, but it's big because it's just so much to do. Yeah. So I really just try to get anywhere I can. You know what I mean, with the little time that I do have to be free. But the park, if it's not the park, Twin Peaks for sure. Or just, you know, any. I love to work out. So if I'm not, gym, LA Fitness. But other than that, man, just really just like to get, you know, the full experience of life. So whether that be going outside, just, you know, running outside or going to the park, you know, biking, whatever it is. So just enjoying nature in general.
For sure.
Yeah.
On the opposing end of that, what's something that you dislike about living in Atlanta?
The traffic.
Okay.
That's easy.
Yeah, I think for me, it'll definitely be the materialistic nature of Atlanta. Yeah. It's something that it's taken me a while to adapt to. Yeah. I feel like, bro, it's hard to just, you know, be yourself. And this is something I touched on in my podcast before, but it's not like that in Philly. I feel like what it is in Philly is like a lot of fake tough people. But out here is different. It's a lot of fake get money people. So it's like you just got to pick your poison on what you want to endure.
Yeah, nah, you're definitely right about that. I will say that that's been something I even had to adjust to because it's very easy to get consumed with that and then become that person too because you feel like you got to keep up with the Joneses. Right. I always remind myself I'm running my own race. And I'm not even going to call it a race. I'm going to call it a marathon. I'm running my own marathon. We're pretty young. Like, I'm 27, 25. Right. I mean, what am I trying to to catch up to anybody else's time for. And then the other thing too in Atlanta, if we calling a spade, a lot of people not making that money legally. So
Hey, I didn't say
we don't. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I mean, we don't know how people making that money too, and I refuse. You know, we both come from very structured backgrounds. Our parents don't accept anything less than, you know, doing things the right way and doing it the perfect way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do it the right way. I'm gonna do everything the right way. So,
and I think
I don't run no one risk.
It goes back to our culture, bro. For both of us, is like African people are rich in pride and culture.
100%.
We are very self-aware people. I just was talking to a friend about this a couple of weeks ago in Philly, where it's like when I was younger, bro, I grew up in a West African household, but I was born in America. My mother was born in America as well. You know, it's a difference in generation. I'm third generation, but I'm being raised by my grandmother.
Facts.
So I'm being raised in a household with West African ideals. But when I go out into the community, all I see is American black people, right?
Facts.
So I went through a phase where my identity and my character was questioned. And, you know, for a short period of my life, I hated being African, bro. I would say that honestly, because when you go to school, it's people saying, you smell like fish. Your African booty scratching.
You've been there.
You got peasy heads, right?
Oh, you.
And I grew up not being proud of being African. You know, I lived a different life outside my home than I lived inside my home.
Facts.
When I'm in the house, I'm proudly, you know, talking with an African accent, eating my cassava leaf, everything, my potato greens, I'm getting it in, bro.
Yeah.
And when I would go outside, it was a different me. And I think the switch happened when I went to Pepper in middle school and I met the Sanasis, I met the Reams, I met the Suleimans, I met the Yusufs along the way. And that made me start to be proud of my culture, because the one thing about Africans in Philly, bro, they don't seek to integrate or assimilate into the larger American culture.
Not at all.
They create their own groups of
100%.
people. And once I saw that, it's like I just needed that example for me to step out and be more proud of my culture.
Yep.
And that's something that I never let go since that time period, bro. So I'm very grateful for that experience. But I think that's why, as a man today, I could stand here and be so self-aware, self-assured, because I'm not trying to appeal to the masses. What I'm after and what I'm trying to integrate myself into is something that stretched back centuries. I'm trying to make our ancestors proud.
Facts.
And when you're thinking like that, you think for the long term,
100%.
nothing that's going on today could deter you or stop you.
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro.
Now, my next question is kind of related to that, but
Yeah.
nowadays, you see everybody with a cultural flag in their bio on social media.
Yeah.
And, you know, for us, we grew up in those households, so we have strong ties, strong connections to it. You know, what does being Malian mean to you?
Man, that's my identity. That's who I am. You know what I mean? That's what that means to me. That is who I am. That is my identity. That is why I move the way that I do, just like you said. We are very prideful people in how we move and very intentional about everything that we do.
For sure.
You know what I mean? We do everything with the knowledge that, we're not just doing it for us, but we doing it for the flag. We doing it for our parents.
Yeah.
We doing it for our parents who struggled and went through the struggle so that we can come out here and flourish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they could only do so much. Now it's time for us to go ahead and really flourish, because we didn't have to go through not even half the stuff that they went through. So, man, that flag being African, period, because I don't even like to say it's just Mali, Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, whatever. Being African, period, I think that means so much, man. Because to an extent, anybody who's been first generation, even second generation American, and their parents are from Africa, came with a little struggle, and everyone understands that. And that's why if you see first generation Africans or second generation, for the most part, we got to carry ourselves in a way where failure is just not an option. We got to get out here and flourish. We got to get out here and make it happen, because we don't want our parents' struggle to go away in vain. You know what I mean? Because that's exactly what it would be.
Did your parents ever talk to you about some of the struggles or things that they've endured back home before coming to America?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about it is, I feel like my parents didn't want to portray Africa in a bad light, so they never really told me. But when I went back to visit, because I did go back a couple times when I was young, I could see how the living circumstances were compared to the way they live now. It's like in Philadelphia, they live in a dream life. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad, was driving a Mercedes. My mom had a Lexus. Like, they live in a 3-story house. Like, that compared to where they came from, they live in the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they never had to explain it to me. Just going there, I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw where my mom grew up at. You know what I mean? I saw, the literally the houses that were almost falling apart.
Yeah.
The houses that she grew up in where her grandmother slept in, and everybody was like 20 people would sleep in the same room.
Yeah.
Like my father and Kaye, which is a small city in Mali.
Okay.
I saw where he grew up, and you know what I mean? Just when you see stuff like that, you can understand and greater appreciate, like, yo, I can see where y'all came from and why y'all did what y'all did and why y'all sacrificed so much to do what y'all did.
And I'm so glad that you said that and you took the conversation in this direction, bro, because one thing that I'm extremely proud of and, something that motivated me to be the man that I am today is, my grandmother and her journey. Mm-hmm. And I wish that she would have talked to me more about her journey when I was younger, so I could have had that appreciation. But I actually had to do an assignment when I was at Temple.
Yeah.
And I forget the class or what the assignment entailed, but I know that I had to talk to someone who immigrated to this country about their story.
Yeah.
And that was the very first time my grandmother talked to me about everything that she endured. And I didn't know that, she left all of her family behind to come to America by herself. Fact. She came here on a boat with Christian missionaries, and she came to Chicago. Her first day in America, she broke her arm because she was scared of snow. She never saw snow before. But, she worked her whole life, and, she brought all of my family over here, and she sacrificed a lot to get here. But I didn't know that she fled from Liberia during a war. Mm-hmm. And, she left behind cousins, siblings.
Yeah.
She left behind everything that she knew, to the point where I don't think I would want to talk about that either if I came here and it's like 100%. I lost everything.
Yeah.
But one thing that made me so proud, is my grandmother passed away last year. Rest in peace to my grandmother. She made so much of an impact at my church, bro, that they had a Liberia flag in my church. Mind you, bro, this is not an African church that we attended. This is a regular Baptist church on 62nd and Dix.
Yeah.
Resurrection Baptist Church in Southwest Philly, bro.
Yeah.
And when my grandma passed away, they gave us the flag. And I don't know about anybody else in my family, but when I was just looking at it, I was like, damn, like, you left so much of an impact on this world and on the people in this community that they have a flag, an American flag, and then the next one is a Liberian flag. Those are the only two flags in the church, bro. And they did that to honor my grandmother. They call her Mother Brown.
Oh, that's
because she enacted a foreign missions committee at my church where, she was honoring lives of people back home. She helped build a well. I forget in what country, but she was a part of that, collecting clothing and canned goods. And I just promised myself that I would tell her story, but I would also continue where she left off. So I'm super intentional about how I live my life and the things that I do day to day. So I appreciate you sharing that, bro, and taking the conversation in this direction. But, speaking of your parents and them both being entrepreneurs, I would assume that in your line of work, you have to have an entrepreneurial spirit to get 100%. Things done, right?
Yes, sir.
So, what are some of the things that you learned from your parents about business and entrepreneurship?
Man, the funny thing about it is, even when it came to business, my parents never intentionally taught me anything. I just watched.
Okay.
And that's the other thing. Like, anybody who got kids, like I got a stepdaughter, like, they watch everything.
Yeah.
They are very, they observe everything. So always be careful about what you're doing and what you're saying. But watching my parents, man, my father, when he first came to America, he started working at a car wash.
Okay.
Right? And if working at a car wash, trying to make a living, trying to raise a family, man. That's tough. So my father said he came across a friend who was a taxi driver, and his friend asked my father, like, yo, just for one weekend, could you drive my taxi?
Yeah.
And, give me 20% of what you made or whatever. Okay. So my dad went and did it, and my dad made a lot of money. He was like, yo, I could turn this into a career. Like, I could actually do this. Exactly. So, mind you, you don't speak English, you know what I mean? You just coming into a new country. You don't speak English. You don't really have, an American education. So what do? You only can get in where you fit in, right? And for my father, he was blessed enough to find where he could fit in, which was being a taxi driver.
Right.
And not only that, my father was thinking, why just get a taxi? Why just rent a taxi and drive it when this is such a demanding industry? I can buy taxis and have people who come into the United States drive these taxis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial spirit, man. Just thinking about what is the most passive way I can make money. Because 50 Cent said it best. You're not making money until you
Making money while you sleep.
exactly.
You dropping gems.
Yeah, bro. And I don't know what it is about Africans or maybe just my father. He just had it. Like he
Yeah.
just in his mind, it was just make money and don't just have to work to make the money, but find other ways to make the money come to you.
And that's something that I want to touch on, bro. Man, you taking this in a direction I didn't even plan to, and I think that's the beauty of it. But, I feel like for a lot of people who are homegrown Americans, we think getting a 9-to-5 salary, being able to buy a Benz or a Tesla and a big house is the sign that you made it in life. And I think when you come here, your family immigrates here from another country, we don't look at it like that. We look at it like, I'm going to build this family business. I'm thinking like generational wealth. I think because we're able to look at it from a different lens and different perspective, we haven't been conditioned to value things, materials, these cars and stuff like that. Or even because of the language barriers or the lack of a formal education, we could come here and look at it from an innovative standpoint. Like, what can I do to shake stuff up to be able to provide for my family? 100%. And I think that's beautiful, bro. Yeah. So, for the people that's listening and they don't know exactly what a mortgage banker does for work on a day-to-day, could you explain some of the day-to-day tasks of your job?
Man, well, it depends. Day-to-day really depends on what I have to get done. But what I normally try to do is stay consistent in everything that I do, especially on the weekdays.
Okay.
So from Monday to Friday, 6 a.m., I'm up. I'm going to the gym. First thing I do, get up, go to the gym. And funny enough, I was never a morning person. I had to become this person because I became so busy that it was like I need to start out my day. Yes, morning was the only time. So I only had like about 2 hours in that morning time to say, hey, I'm going to get the day started and be able to meditate and go work out and get my day started on quick. You know what I'm saying? Like get the blood flowing so that through the rest of the day, I'm on go. I'm on 100. So 6 a.m., go to the gym. I'm out of the gym probably by like 8 o'clock, 8:30, done showered. And then first thing I do is pray. After I eat, I pray. And then go straight into my routine of calling my current clients. Okay. So I'm calling my clients. I'm making sure the clients that I do have, making sure they understand where we are. If closing dates need to be adjusted, I'm letting them know, hey, we're changing the dates on this, and this is why. If I need documents signed, I'm making sure documents are getting signed. So from 9 to 12 till noon, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing follow-ups. Then from noon until 5, I'm making sure the pipeline and everything is supposed to be where it's supposed to be. And then I'm also reaching out to new referral partners. So realtors in the Atlanta area that I might want to work with. I'm sending them messages or I'm contacting them and saying, hey, let's go out for a coffee date. Or if I do have a coffee date or a lunch date with any realtors that I could possibly be doing business with, I'm going out and doing that. Whether that be at noon or 1 or 2 o'clock, I'm going out and doing that simultaneously. So literally what I'm doing is my whole day just revolves around making sure what I currently have, my clients are good. And then also I'm focusing on the new business that I could, or business partners that I could be establishing relationships with in the afternoon. So that's what I'm doing. And then in the evening, I'm making calls to new clients that if any realtor sent me business, I'm calling them so that I can get them approved for their home purchase.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, I have a couple questions listening to you say that. The first thing is, I probably should have asked this earlier. So, for my younger listeners that don't even know what a mortgage is, what is a mortgage in the simplest terms?
Got you. So a mortgage is a lien on a residential property. So it's a loan that you take out so that when you buy a home, obviously the market we in now, not everybody has $300,000, $400,000 cash to buy a home. Right. So what you do is you go to the bank and you take out a loan. Well, I'm that person that you would come to who would pretty much evaluate all of your information, your credit, your assets, your employment history, your income, and determine exactly how much you can qualify for, if you can qualify at all, and structure your deal in a way that works best for you and what you're trying to do. And then use that to be able to get you out there to be able to purchase a home that best fits your needs and your family and help you finance that the proper way.
Well, if y'all heard that, y'all know that means that I met the perfect person upon moving here, because I'm trying to buy a crib within the next couple of years, bro. That's something I'm working towards.
Definitely.
Now, in the past few years, I would say real estate has become, the main thing. It's a lot of conversations about generating generational wealth amongst black people. Yeah. So most people only know about becoming a real estate agent, a real estate investor, or even a wholesaler. So why did you choose to go the particular route of being a mortgage banker?
Man, that's funny that you say that because I thought I was going to be a realtor.
Okay.
I was just trying to get in a real estate space. And the reason why was because of my father. My father became a huge real estate investor in Philadelphia and in Africa and Mali. He bought a lot of property in Mali, and he owns a lot of commercial and residential properties in Philadelphia. I watched my father be very successful, and I was like, man, passive income? I like this. I want, that's what I want for myself. That's my retirement plan, is passive income, not a 401k, it's passive income. So when I went to college, I met a mentor. I forgot his name, but it was my senior year of college. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, I'm thinking about becoming a realtor. And he said, nah, we don't need any more realtors. There's a lot of realtors out there, and only a handful of them are really, really doing well for themselves. Right. We need more younger bankers, more younger mortgage bankers. Okay. And I was like, okay, what's that? I don't even know what that is. He said, look it up. A mortgage banker is someone who finances properties. And I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. I was like, what? I didn't know that. I thought you just go to the bank and you get a loan. He said there are people who are set in place to help people finance properties, and they get compensated really well. Right. And he's like, the average age of a loan officer or a mortgage banker is 55. So we need younger people in the industry. So he was like, go look it up. And literally, when I went online to look up jobs to become a mortgage banker, there were companies paying people to become mortgage bankers. Yes, because the hardest thing about being a mortgage banker is taking the classes and passing the test. Okay. That's what becomes hard. And then on top of that, not just passing the test, people get into the industry and then the turnover is high because people aren't successful fast enough. It's a commission job. You don't just get a salary. It don't work that way. It's a commission job. You get paid for what you put in. For me, I just thought, this is a great opportunity straight out of college to dive into something and learn and learn this, because you talking about the average age being 55. Right. We next up. Once those people retire and they're done, is us. It's a handful of us that who are going to be licensed and ready to take over the mortgage industry. So I was like, man, that was a great gem that he gave me when he told me at the most perfect time, because I had a job straight out of college, literally started working like 2-3 days after I graduated. But it was a blessing because I took the class. It took me about 2 months and aced the test, and the rest is history. Now I'm here.
Man, you answered my next question, man. Yeah. But you also made me think about a couple things. So the first thing was the importance of having strong mentors. Mm-hmm. And I'll get into that after this question. But you touched on this also another time. But the difference between, passive income and a 401k, mm-hmm. why is that important to you specifically? And what should people take away from that comment that you made?
Some people not going to agree with me. Maybe the Dave Ramsey fans won't agree with me, to be honest. I mean, I don't believe in 401ks. Right. And I know that some people, they probably just heard me say I'm an atheist. But right. But seriously, I don't believe in 401ks. And the reason why is because I watch my parents be successful without having a 9-to-5 job. Right. So they didn't have a 401k. Right. They didn't have those benefits. But they're still able to live the life that they want, right? And I think a lot of times what happens is people get trapped in the 9-to-5 and the whole 401k. Hey, we'll match you. We'll give you this much money. Mm-hmm. Put as much as you can in your 401k so you don't have to pay taxes. You avoid the taxes. Okay, but the one thing that didn't make sense to me with a 401k is you telling me I don't have to pay taxes on this money. I could put it away. You'll match me. But if I need it for any reason before I'm 60, I'm going to be penalized for my money? That don't make sense to me.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's so many things I want to ask you, but for the sake of steering the conversation forward, I'll just ask, do you think that being an ATL as opposed to Philly has done anything for your career?
Definitely. I definitely, yes, for sure, 100%, man. I mean, when I was in Philly, I was producing in such a way where I was just barely making it because I didn't have to do anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Being under my parents' roof, You know, I was making a good amount. I even went and bought a BMW,
Right.
which is probably the dumbest purchase I ever made, to be honest. But doing it straight out of college, you know, you get your your first check. You're like, man, this is nice.
I got flex a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I need a car to match the title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but I just did the bare minimum. Coming to Atlanta and being, like I said, by myself, where look left, look right, it's no one around, it's just me. It drove me to do more and do better. And not only that, being around people who are, like I said, Atlanta's Wakanda, right? So you talking about people who are in the mortgage industry that look like me.
Yeah.
Now they can give me the tools and gems and the secrets that I need to be successful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So coming to Atlanta really has helped me in that way, where I've met so many people. My old manager, Simon, who's from Nigeria. Shout out to Simon. Man, love him. He was like an open book. He was in the mortgage industry for 30 years, and he'd been through the ups and downs of the mortgage industry, and he told me everything. Yeah. And now I'm sitting here, my first year making over six figures. I don't think that's a coincidence. I've only been in Atlanta. This is my second year in Atlanta. I mean, once I met someone who was willing to show me the way, I just took off from there.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty, bro, of somebody was a mentor to you. So many people have poured into you, and in exchange, you're pouring that information back into our community.
Exactly.
If y'all don't follow Ben, he has a large Instagram and TikTok following, and, he's giving out the game for free. He may not be able to answer every direct question that you may have, but it's just so much valuable information on there. Sometimes I go on your TikTok, bro, and I'm on there scrolling for 30 to 40 minutes at a time, just because I don't have anybody that I could ask these direct questions with. And me being 25, thinking about purchasing a home sometime soon, I don't want to be in apartments forever. I'm looking at what are the things that I'm going to need to do to set myself up to have a prosperous future where I can make this a possibility. So I appreciate that. And, make sure y'all follow Ben on his socials. We're going to get to that at the end of this episode. But, here, bro, on this podcast, I talk a lot about, trusting the process and finding grace on your journey towards success. And when you look back on your life experiences, was there ever a moment in time or a period of time where you went through something and it was an intense struggle and you just couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel? If you did, what was that experience and how did you overcome it?
Oh, man. And I'm going to be very transparent with this moment. When I graduated from college and I had a failed engagement, I got very depressed being at my parents' house. I was super depressed. I was probably depressed for I don't even remember how long it was, but when I was depressed, I didn't think I was going to come back from that. Yeah, that was a very low point in my life. It kind of came from a lot of different angles, society, family. Our parents mean so well, and they mean so well to the point that it kind of becomes overbearing, and they don't understand it. You know what I mean? Especially when you talk about mental health. I mean, when it come to African parents, they
pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, mental health is non-existent. So you can't even go there as an outlet to them, and that became really tough. And then because that became tough, it kind of became a strain in my relationship with my parents because of that. So it was a dark time for me. I'll probably say in that year before I moved to Atlanta, it was a very dark time for me. I didn't know. I honestly didn't think there was getting out of that. I thought that was it. Yeah, that was over. It was college. I thought I was making the right steps in life. Things wasn't going my way. My relationships were failing left and right, and I just thought it was all over. And I think making that move was so huge, man.
Talk about it, bro.
Yeah, because right after making that move, I started meeting people. One of the people that I met, Marcella, I call her my Airbnb mom. When I first moved to Atlanta, before I moved and I did my first interview for PNC Bank, which was the first bank that I started working for when I came to Atlanta, she started pouring into me. She kind of was, giving me words of encouragement, words of affirmation that I wasn't even giving myself.
Yeah, or sometimes that we don't even receive from our family, bro.
Facts.
I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. To hear that I'm proud of you from an African parent, bro, it's few and far between.
Definitely.
Few and far between for sure. I could say, bro, I went through damn near 22 years of my life just to hear my grandmother finally, when I graduated from college the first time, then I did it again when I got my master's. Those was one of the first two times where it was like, I am proud of you. Like, she really looked me in my eyes and let me know and embrace me. And that's something that we definitely need to talk about more in our community.
100%.
And I would hope that, when we have kids, that's something that we could do differently because we saw how that affected us personally. But
100%.
outside of that, bro, like what were some of the things that you had to do, outside of the move and meeting those people to like, really like build yourself up through that time period?
I wasn't moving with purpose at that point in my life. I was just everything I was doing was just to get through the day.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? I remember times where I wouldn't even go back home and I would just sleep in the car just to have, that time. Yeah. So, it was just day to day. What I did, I would honestly, I can only say God helped me, man. God really brought people in my life that I needed at that point. And when I say like my Airbnb mom, Marcella, when she would just give me those words of affirmation, like, yo, you are amazing, you are smart. To this day, she texted me yesterday saying I love you. You know what I mean? Like
crazy.
Things like that. that really tells you like, yo, if this random woman who I met, and she's not random anymore, I've known her for 2 years. I call her my Airbnb. I call her like my Atlanta mom, aside from my my mom, but I'm like, if this woman who met me and saw me, for a weekend, when I visited Atlanta just to do an interview, can think that I'm this amazing guy.
Why can't I think this?
Why can't I think that way?
Bro,
you know what I mean?
I'm reacting so strongly, bro, because anybody that has listened to my story in the first few episodes of the podcast, bro, I could tell you it's almost the same thing happened, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, I went through an intense breakup at a crucial time in my life where I'm a former basketball player trying to make a Division II team. And, I had all of the odds against me. It's a new coach. He brought in a bunch of new players. And at this time, I'm still forming my confidence and learning how to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And I go through an intense breakup with, this is my first love.
Yeah.
And for us as men, bro, we not even taught how to really ration with our emotions or express ourselves. So the only thing I knew at first was rage. And then I felt this intense sadness, and I just isolated myself from everybody. Because as men, we super prideful. We don't want people to see us when we're vulnerable.
Thanks.
So instead of showing up every day and trying to do my best, I walked away from basketball, which I love so much. I quit, I gave up the game. And, just like you, I became a shell of myself. Like, wasn't doing my best, just trying to live to make it through the day. And I met this woman who I call my fairy godmother. So it's funny how you call her your Atlanta mom, and she's still my mentor today. She pours so much into me. And I think that just goes back to mentorship, bro. So I think it's so beautiful. That's why stories are important. Because I would have never knew that we had that commonality if you ain't tell people your story. So, to close this thing out, bro, I appreciate you for sharing all of that. How do you personally define a failure?
What I define a failure is staying down and not getting back up. You talk about falling forward. If you fall forward and get back up to fall forward again, it's not necessarily a failure if you constantly getting back up. But when you stay down and lay down, to me, that's a failure.
Yeah.
When you decide that is it, like you're not moving, that's a failure. That's a failure to me. Because we all go through our ups and downs. Even me as a mortgage banker, as successful as I am, as successful as things may be portrayed, on social media or whatever it may be, I fail every week in something. Right. I lose deals. I have people who walk away from me and go, I don't want to work with you. I want to go work. That's a setback. That's life, a failure. That's you know what I mean? Those are minor failures. But it's about what are you going to do after those minor setbacks? We're in a generation where we're so entitled as millennials, bro.
Yeah.
We want everything right now. We want to be successful fast. I met a kid he's a kid too though, but he's 25. He just moved from California, and he's like, I want to sell luxury properties. I'm like, okay, have you sold a property yet? No.
Yeah.
So you want your first property to be a multi-million-dollar property in Atlanta? Why are you entitled to that? Why? And I'm not trying to be mean.
Social media makes everything seem like it's more so tangible fast. People don't see the process, and that's why I'm so grateful to have this platform, bro, because there's a human element to everything that we do.
Facts.
And that human element is the things that you just talked about. Yeah. You failing. They don't see that on social media.
Nah.
They don't all they see is, damn, Ben got 18,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
He know everything about real estate. He's super successful. He drive a nice car.
Yeah.
I want that. And that's why people could get on there and say, I'm moving to Atlanta, man. I'm about to do exactly what Ben doing. I'm about to do exactly what Tay doing, because we don't see the failures. We don't see the struggles.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that you said that, bro. And to end this, I just want to ask, like, what is the end goal for you, bro? Like, if you have an idea of where you want to be, you got a nice, loving family,
Yeah.
successful career at such a young age. You got all the followers in the world.
Not yet. Not yet.
But like, what's next for you? What's the end goal?
End goal for me, well, I'm married. Priscilla and I, man, we just want to build an empire. That's always been my goal, is to be a reflection of where I come from, my parents, build an empire, and do that the right way. In terms of building, doesn't just mean building for myself and for my family. I want to help other people. That's why on TikTok, you see what I'm putting out there on my platform. I'm talking about ways to build generational wealth.
Right.
It's not just about me. It's about helping the masses. And in turn, in reflection, I know God is going to bring that back to me.
Right.
And that's my purpose. That's my end goal. My end goal is to build my empire by helping other people build theirs.
That was amazing, bro. I couldn't have said that any better,
Appreciate you.
man. So,
Yeah.
Before we go, shout out your socials and where people can find you.
Yeah. So on Instagram and TikTok, it's at benthebanker_.
Thank you for that, bro. And if y'all want to catch this episode, it will be available on all of the major streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And please follow our YouTube channel at Failing Forward Podcast. And, my closing question, bro. This is my little cheat code because y'all know
Okay.
I'm new out here in Atlanta. I stole this actually from All the Smoke podcast, but I'm going to ask you, if you can give me a name of one person that you think I should interview out here next, who would that person be? And I'm going to give you the task of connecting me to that person so I can get the interview.
Oh, I already connected you to him.
Who?
Rock.
Say no more.
Rock, you got to bring Rock out here, man.
All right. I'm going to get Rock to drop some gems about the credit repair. And
yes, sir.
That's crazy, bro, because we got you talking about the mortgages. Then I'm going to bring Rock on here talking about how to get your credit right.
Yes, sir.
So, you know what I'm saying? Don't say I ain't help y'all get y'all little cribs. You know what I'm saying? Get your credit right, get your money right. But no, I really want to thank you, bro. This was amazing. You was my first guest, man. It's legendary.
Appreciate this, bro.
From here, we only going up.
Yes, sir.
So thank y'all for watching, man. Thank you for listening from wherever you are. And, just expect more content to come soon. And I'll see y'all later, man.